Hidden beneath the stars, Sophia Martinez adjusted her high-necked blouse for the fifth time that morning, ensuring the purple-hued birthmark that sprawled across her right collarbone remained completely hidden. "This is ridiculous," she whispered to her reflection. "It's already 85 degrees outside." The birthmark had been with her since birth, a constellation-like pattern that her mother once called beautiful, but that had become Sophia's greatest source of shame after years of childhood. Taunting purple freak, they had called her through elementary school, and though she was now 23 and in graduate school studying astrophysics, those voices never quite faded away. First day with the new professor, she reminded herself. Gathering her books, just stay invisible. When Sophia entered the small seminar room, most seats were already taken except for one near the front. Of course, she thought, reluctantly sliding into the chair and arranging her scarf carefully around her neck despite the warm September air. "Good morning, everyone," a voice called from the doorway. "I'm Dr. James Chen, and I'll be leading your Advanced Stellar Phenomena course this semester." Sophia looked up and felt an unexpected flutter in her chest. Dr. Chen wasn't what she had expected. From his published papers, she had imagined someone older, more severe instead. He appeared to be in his early 30s with kind eyes that crinkled at the corners when he smiled. His dark hair fell slightly over his forehead as he set down his materials. "Before we dive into neutron stars and black holes, I'd like to know what brought each of you to astrophysics." Dr. Chen leaned against his desk. "Let's start with you." He nodded toward Sophia. Her throat tightened. "Me?" "Yes," he smiled warmly. "What made you fall in love with the stars?" Something in his genuine interest made Sophia forget her usual reticence. "I was 8 when my father took me camping in the desert," she began. Softly, "It was the first time I saw the Milky Way. Without light pollution, I remember thinking that if the universe could create something so vast and beautiful out of dust and gas and time, then maybe everything had potential for beauty." The room had fallen silent, and when she looked up, Dr. Chen was watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. "That's precisely why I became an astrophysicist," he said quietly, "to remind myself that beauty exists in the most unexpected places." Their eyes met for a moment longer than necessary throughout the lecture. Sophia found herself captivated not just by the material, but by the way Dr. Chen taught, with a passion that matched her own hidden enthusiasm. She almost forgot to maintain her careful posture until a student opened a window, and the breeze threatened to displace her scarf. Dr. Chen noticed her sudden movement to secure it, his eyes flickering briefly to her collarbone before returning to his notes without comment. After class, as students filtered out, he called Ms. Martinez. "Could you stay a moment?" Panic fluttered in her chest. Had he seen her birthmark? "Yes?" He shuffled through some papers. "I read your thesis proposal on stellar nucleosynthesis. It's exceptional work." Relief flooded through her. "Thank you. I'm leading a research project on that very subject," he continued. "We could use someone with your perspective. Would you be interested?" Sophia hesitated. The project meant more time with him, more chances for her secret to be exposed. "I usually work alone." The universe wasn't formed by elements that kept to themselves. Dr. Chen said gently, "The most beautiful celestial bodies were created through collision and cooperation." Something in his words touched a place inside her that had been closed for too long. "When would we start?" she heard herself ask. "Tomorrow evening," he smiled. "Observatory rooftop at 8. As Sophia left, she felt something she hadn't experienced in years, the dangerous warmth of hope blossoming beneath her carefully constructed armor. She touched her collarbone where the purple birthmark lay hidden, wondering if perhaps, like the stars she studied, she too might someday be seen as beautiful despite, or perhaps because of, her differences. Cosmic collisions. The observatory rooftop bathed in twilight as Sophia arrived precisely at 8. Her heartbeat quickening when she spotted Dr. Chen already setting up the telescope. "You're right on time," he said without looking up. "The sky is perfect tonight." Sophia approached cautiously, one hand instinctively at her throat where a silken scarf was wrapped despite the mild evening. "What are we observing?" "Binary stars." Dr. Chen adjusted the lens. 2 stars orbiting the same center of mass, inexorably drawn to each other. He stepped back. "Take a look." As Sophia leaned forward to peer through the eyepiece, Her scarf caught on the telescope's edge. She jerked back quickly, but not before a small section of purple-hued skin was momentarily exposed. "Are you all right?" Dr. Chen asked, his voice laced with concern. "Fine," she replied tersely, rewrapping the scarf with practiced fingers. Just clumsy if he noticed anything unusual. His face revealed nothing. These binary stars have been dancing around each other for millions of years. He continued seamlessly, neither fully committing to collision nor completely breaking free from Earth. They appear as one star to the naked eye. Only through careful observation do we discover their true nature. Sophia felt a strange resonance with his words. How can something survive being constantly pulled toward another body without being destroyed? That's exactly what our research aims to understand. Dr. Chen's eyes met hers, the resilience of celestial bodies under immense pressure. Over the following weeks, their research sessions became the highlight of Sophia's carefully structured life under the observatory's dome. Surrounded by the mathematics of the universe, she found herself gradually relaxing her guard. Dr. Chen never mentioned her scarf or the way she flinched when anyone came too close to her neck or shoulder. Instead, he treated her as an equal, valuing her insights and challenging her theories. "You've never told me why you wear scarves even on the hottest days," he mentioned casually one evening as they analyzed data side by side. The question sent ice through her veins. "It's personal." "I respect that," he nodded. "We all have our protective layers. I have mine too." Curiosity momentarily overcame her caution. "What do you hide, Dr. Chen?" A sad smile crossed his face. "James, please call me James, and what I hide isn't visible, like—" He stopped himself. "Like what?" Sophia's voice was barely audible. "Like whatever you're protecting." "Beneath your scarf," he said gently. "I hide the fact that my passion for the stars began as an escape. Astronomy was where I fled after my wife died 3 years ago. Cancer. She was only 30. The unexpected confession hung between them like cosmic dust. "I'm sorry," Sophia whispered. "Don't be," he replied. "Grief taught me something important. Beauty and pain often exist in the same space." His eyes lingered on her face. "Sometimes what we try hardest to conceal is precisely what makes us uniquely ourselves." Sophia felt her walls trembling. "I should go, it's late." As she gathered her notes, James spoke again. "There's a department gathering at my home tomorrow evening. Nothing formal. Just colleagues sharing ideas. I'd like you to come. I don't do well in groups." "Just think about it," he said. "Sometimes the most significant discoveries happen outside our comfort zones." That night, Sophia stood before her mirror, slowly unwrapping her scarf. The purple birthmark emerged like a nebula across her skin, swirling from her collarbone up toward her jawline. For the first time in years, she forced herself to really look at it, wondering if James was right. Could something that had caused her so much pain also hold beauty? With trembling fingers, she reached for her phone and typed a message. "What time tomorrow evening? And what should I bring?" Eclipse of doubt. Sophia stood frozen before James's front door, a bottle of wine clutched in her hand and anxiety coiling in her stomach. A dozen scenarios played through her mind, most ending with horrified stares if her scarf slipped. "This was a mistake," she murmured, turning to leave just as the door swung open. "Sophia, you came." James's smile was genuinely pleased. His casual attire, jeans and a simple button-down, contrasted with his usual professional appearance. "I was beginning to worry you'd changed your mind." "I did about 15 times," she admitted with a nervous laugh. "Well, I'm glad the 16th decision brought you here." He gestured inside. "Come meet everyone." The gathering was smaller than Sophia had feared. Just 6 other researchers engaged in animated conversations about recent discoveries in astrophysics. To her surprise, no one paid particular attention to her carefully arranged scarf as James introduced her. "This is Sophia Martinez," he said. "The brilliant mind I've been telling you all about." "So you're the one keeping James at the observatory until dawn?" A woman named Sarah teased. "He says your insights on stellar formation are revolutionary." Warmth spread through Sophia that had nothing to do with embarrassment. "He exaggerates. I don't." James handed her a glass of wine. "In fact, tell them about your theory on neutron star composition." Before she realized it, Sophia was deep in discussion with Sarah and 2 other researchers, her hands gesturing enthusiastically as she explained her hypotheses. For precious minutes, she forgot to be self-conscious, forgot to constantly check her scarf. It was only when she reached for her wine that she noticed James watching her from across the room, something like tenderness in his expression. Later, as the gathering wound down, Sophia found herself alone with James in his kitchen. "Thank you for inviting me," she said. "It wasn't nearly as terrifying as I'd imagined." "You were the brightest star in the room," he replied. "When you forget to hide, Sophia, you're magnificent." His words struck too close to her core vulnerability. "I should go." "Stay," he said softly. "Just a little longer, I want to show you something." James led her through the house to a back door that opened onto a small garden. A telescope stood on a patch of grass, pointed at the clear night sky. "This is where I come when the world feels too heavy," he explained. "When I need to remember my place in the universe." As they stood side by side looking upward, James's hand found hers in the darkness. The unexpected touch sent electricity through her fingers. "What do you see when you look up there?" he asked. "Possibility," she whispered. "And perspective." "Exactly." He turned to face her. "The universe doesn't hide its imperfections, Sophia. Its scars and asymmetries are what make it magnificent black holes. Nebulae formed from destruction, collapsed stars. These are not flaws but essential elements of cosmic beauty." His face was so close now, his eyes reflecting starlight. "James," she breathed his name like a warning. "Whatever you're hiding," he murmured, "it can't diminish what I see in you." The moment hung between them, fraught with potential energy, like the moment before a star collapses or expands. Sophia felt herself drawn toward him by forces she couldn't control or understand. Then a voice called from inside. "James, where did you put the research files from Princeton?" The spell broke. Sophia stepped back, suddenly aware of how close she'd come to revealing everything. Not just her birthmark, but the feelings growing within her. "I really should go," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "Early class tomorrow." James walked her to her car. "Will I see you at the observatory tomorrow night?" Sophia hesitated. Her scarf felt suddenly suffocating, a physical manifestation of the wall she'd built. "I'm not sure I'll be there either way," he said simply. "Some orbits can't be broken." As she drove home, Sophia's mind was a chaotic spiral of conflicting emotions. She touched her birthmark through the fabric. What would happen if James saw it? Would his gaze change from warmth to revulsion? Or worse, pity? The thought was unbearable. Yet for the first time in her adult life, Sophia found herself wondering what it might feel like to be truly seen, to step fully into the light without shadows or scarves or careful angles. What cosmic shift might occur if she stopped hiding what she hated most about herself? Constellation of Truth. 3 days passed without Sophia returning to the observatory. She ignored James's messages, burying herself in solitary research and the familiar comfort of isolation. But his words echoed in her mind like distant radio waves from a dying star. Some orbits can't be broken. On the 4th evening, rain pounded against her apartment windows, matching her turbulent thoughts. A sharp knock cut through the storm's rhythm. Sophia froze, knowing instinctively who stood on the other side. When she opened the door, James stood there drenched, his usually neat hair plastered to his forehead. "You're avoiding me," he stated simply. "I've been busy," she lied, not meeting his eyes. "May I come in?" "Unless you prefer I drown on your doorstep." Sophia stepped aside, acutely aware of her thin t-shirt and the scarf hastily thrown around her neck when she heard his knock. "You shouldn't have come." "Probably not," he agreed, water dripping onto her floor. "But stars don't always follow the paths we predict for them." He ran a hand through his wet hair. "You disappeared." Sophia without explanation, without goodbye. "It's better this way." "Better for whom?" James challenged. "Because the data suggests otherwise. You've missed 3 research sessions, your classwork has suffered. And He hesitated. "I've missed you." Something in his voice made Sophia look up. Their eyes met, and the air between them seemed to crackle with unspoken words. "I can't give you what you want," she whispered. "You don't know what I want. I know you want someone whole, someone normal." James stepped closer. "Is that what this is about? Your birthmark?" Sophia's breath caught. "You know?" "I've caught glimpses," he admitted. That night on the observatory roof when your scarf slipped at my house when you reached for your wine glass. Shame burned through her, and you pitied me. No, James's voice was firm. I admired you, your brilliance, your passion. Your strength in carrying this secret while never letting it diminish your work. Don't. Sophia backed away. Don't pretend it doesn't matter, it's hideous. Show me, he said quietly. What? If you truly believe I'll reject you because of it, then show me, let me prove you wrong. Fear and longing warred within her. Why are you doing this? Because in astronomy we don't ignore anomalies. Sophia, we study them. We appreciate them for what they teach us about the universe. James's eyes never left hers. And because I'm falling in love with you, all of you. Even the parts you haven't trusted me to see. His words broke something loose inside her with trembling fingers. Sophia reached for her scarf. The room seemed to tilt on its axis as she slowly unwound the fabric. The purple birthmark emerged, vivid against her skin in the dim light. Sophia couldn't bear to watch his reaction. Closing her eyes as the last of the fabric fell away. Now you see why I hide, she whispered. For several heartbeats. Silence filled the room. Then she felt the gentle pressure of fingertips tracing the edge of her birthmark. Sophia's eyes flew open to find James looking at her with wonder. Not disgust, it's like a nebula, he murmured. Like the Carina Nebula captured by Webb telescope. Before she could respond, he leaned forward and pressed his lips gently to the center of her birthmark. A soft kiss that sent shockwaves through her body. Why would you kiss that? She gasped. James smiled against her skin, because it's the most honest part of you, the part you couldn't hide behind brilliance, or sarcasm or scarves, and I've wanted to do that since the first time I glimpsed. Tears filled Sophia's eyes as decades of shame began to crack and fall away. No one has ever seen it as beautiful. Then no one has truly seen you, James whispered, kissing her birthmark again. This isn't something to hide, it's a celestial map that led me to you. For the first time in her adult life, Sophia stood before someone completely exposed, completely vulnerable, and instead of rejection, she found acceptance instead of disgust. She found reverence in James' eyes. She saw herself transformed, not into someone without flaws, but into someone whose uniqueness was precisely what made her beautiful. Universe Unbound Spring arrived at the university campus, bringing with it a transformation as profound as Sophia's own students lounging on the grass looked up in surprise as she walked by, her purple birthmark visible above the neckline of her sundress. She no longer hunched her shoulders or hid behind carefully arranged scarves. Instead, she moved with the confidence of a woman who had rediscovered her place in the universe. Professor Martinez, a student, called, "Will we be using the large telescope tonight?" Weather permitting. Sophia smiled, though sometimes cloud cover reveals more than clear skies. In the month since that rainy night with James, Sophia had completed her doctoral program and accepted a teaching position alongside her research. After years of hiding, she found freedom in visibility, not just of her birthmark but of her full self. She headed toward the observatory where James would be waiting. There, research on binary star systems had garnered attention from the scientific community, particularly their paper on proximity effects in stellar evolution, which many colleagues teasingly noted seemed as much about their relationship as about astronomy. There you are. James looked up from his desk when she entered. Ready for tonight's observation? Almost. Sophia set down her materials, but first, I have something for you. She placed a small velvet box on his desk. Inside lay a silver pendant in the exact shape of her birthmark, meticulously crafted by an artist who specialized in astronomical jewelry. It's beautiful, James whispered. Lifting it carefully, I used to think stars were perfect spheres, Sophia said, until you taught me that their imperfections, their wobbles, their flares, their asymmetries, are what make them worthy of study. She touched her birthmark. You didn't try to fix me, you showed me I was never broken. James stood and pulled her close. Do you remember what you said the first day we met? About why you fell in love with astronomy? Sophia nodded against his chest. You said if the universe could create something beautiful out of dust and gas and time, then everything had potential for beauty. He continued, you already knew the truth, you just needed someone to remind you that it applied to you too. Later that evening, As students filtered into the observatory for the night class, Sophia stood confidently at the front of the room, her birthmark visible, her eyes bright, no longer defining herself by what she lacked or what she hid, but by what she had found, both in the stars and in herself. Astronomy teaches us something profound. She began, that light travels across impossible distances, through darkness and dust clouds and time itself, to reach us, that what appears as a flaw from one perspective might be a doorway to discovery from another. Her eyes found James at the back of the room, his hand resting on the pendant at his neck. Tonight we'll observe binary stars, she continued, systems where two different bodies find perfect balance in their differences, creating something more beautiful together than either could alone. After class, as the students departed and the night deepened around the observatory, James and Sophia stood on the rooftop where their journey had begun, his arm wrapped around her shoulders, fingers gently tracing the edges of her birthmark, in a touch that had become as familiar as her own heartbeat. I have news, he said. The Johnson Foundation approved our grant. Proposal will have funding for 3 years of research. Sophia turned to face him. 3 years of watching stars dance around each other. Among other things, James smiled, pulling her closer. Though I'm more interested in our orbit now, under the vast canopy of stars. Sophia tilted her face up to his. Some orbits can't be broken. She whispered against his lips, echoing his words from months before. Their kiss deepened as the telescope beside them automatically tracked the movement of binary stars, millions of light years away. Two bodies circling a common center, their individual lights blending into something new and magnificent when viewed from a distance. When they finally pulled apart, Sophia rested her head against James's chest. Listening to his heartbeat, she thought about the journey that had brought her here, from a girl who hated her reflection, to a woman who had learned that love begins with being truly. See, and what are you thinking? James asked, his fingers still tracing the purple swirls along her collarbone. That it's not about hiding or revealing, she answered. It's about finding someone who sees beauty in exactly the parts of ourselves we thought unworthy of love above them. The universe continued its ancient expansion, stars being born and dying, galaxies colliding and separating, all part of the same cosmic dance that had brought two astronomers together beneath the observatory dome. And in that moment, Sophia knew with absolute certainty that she was exactly where she belonged. Imperfect, unique, and completely unbound.